So, before we begin, there's something that I need to point out. I am not a challenger player. I am not a high level, high skilled player. Essentially, I started playing League simply because I was bored. There wasn't much for me to play, and I just decided, well, why not download it and play? And I immediately had an issue where I couldn't climb. I was stuck at Iron, and I just couldn't understand what is wrong, especially given the fact that I did play Wild Rift. I think I had 1,500 games on Wild Rift, mobile version of the league, and I was like some, I don't know, diamond or something rank. I don't know how this works, and I thought that going into PC version there is going to be a difficulty of adaptation, maybe some different changes, match length and all that stuff. But I originally thought that eventually I'll adapt and I'll climb no problems. But unfortunately, I was stuck for a really long time and I couldn't understand what was wrong. So, this video is exactly for those people who are genuinely unaware of the reasons why they are stuck at iron or whatever, right? For me, I was stuck at iron and I just did not understand what is the issue. And I recently did climb out of iron and I'm climbing bronze right now. So again, I really want to say this that I am not a good player. I'm just a lowly bronze player at this point. Maybe I'll fall back to iron, right? But I just want to talk about how I was able to climb out of iron and what really helped me. So, for example, if you're someone who's struggling with this, maybe this video is going to be helpful because I did look for different advice, and essentially, advice was just get good, right? And you just suck at the game. You're very bad. So it's on you. You just have to get good. You have to get better. But as it is, that doesn't really tell us much, right? It just does not present a lot of info. And how do you get good? Where's the problem? Where's weakness of you as a player and all that? So there are really a lot of different questions in your mind, and at least it was in my mind. So after a really long time of essentially pain and torture and suffering, I came to a certain amount of rules that I follow that helps me play better. And usually, my games go now, my win rate is getting better because before I was sitting in a very negative win rate. Like it was like 46 or something, which is really horrendous. Now it's like 51 and still improving. So again, not a great player. I'm just uh, sharing what helped me and just this kind of thing. Maybe it'll help you. So, rule number one that I had to go through and I had to accept it is if you're not playing well, if you're low rank, and low rank in my understanding is anything below gold included. So what it means is that you're just a bad player. You're just bad at the game. Maybe not mechanically, maybe just your understanding or something is wrong. So basically it's your skill issue. So what I'm trying to say is we have to take responsibility for what or who we are, right? We are where we are because we are what we are. We're bad. We're not good at the game. We need to improve. We need to constantly work on ourselves and going like, oh, there's Smurfs, or my team is inting, or there's like losers queue, or whatever the shit. It's just not constructive, and it's essentially we are deluding ourselves if we are like using these shields, right? These arguments to defend our honor, so to speak. So basically, we have to accept responsibility. We are here because we're bad, and not just say it for the sake of saying it. Actually, accept it. Accept the fact that not only you're not good, but you need to improve. This is the key moment. Necessity for improvement. That is important. So once we are able to take responsibility, and by the way, there's something that I want to mention. I fully am aware that such thing as Smurfs exist, right? Bad teammates exist. Like some paid accounts or boosted accounts, whatever the shit, all of that exists, but it is not the majority of player base. It is actually a very small number of player base. It has to be. Otherwise, the game would just be completely unplayable. So, once we take responsibility that yes, there are some games where it is unfair, we're fucked, FF15, right? We just gotta get out of those games as quickly as we can possibly, uh, without being toxic. But other like 80%, 90%, 99% of the time is just on us. We fuck up, we screw up, it's our problem, we need to improve, right? Once we take the responsibility, there's something else that I really, really think that is very important. Expanding your roster. Expanding your roster of playable characters or champions is very good, not because you can be better at the game or win more games or like comp, you can um, uh, select better team composition or something like that. No. I think the biggest reason for playing different characters, for trying different champs, is simply enjoyment, player enjoyment. So I never played Galio, for example. And recently, I was going through the champion roster. I was just looking through a store, and I just was looking through the different abilities of different champions because I wasn't really sure what are the differences in a PC version, right, from the a mobile version, and there are different champs on PC version that do not exist on mobile. So I was going through those different champs, and I came across Galio, and I thought, hey, he looks interesting. He is kind of like Shan. His abilities are kind of like Shan's abilities, but slightly different. So let's try him out, right? And I tried him out, and my reasoning for doing that was simply to just, hey, he looks fun, right? He seems fun. So fun is the most important thing. I was chasing fun. And Galio is now something that really allows me to enjoy League and actually win games, right? So just take your time, go through the different champs, and expand your roster, right? Try out different champs. You'll have fun. So afterwards, when you think that there are champs that you like or would want to try out, I think it makes sense to try them out in a training tool or like in a bot game with actual bots, right? Because well, it allows you to actually without any hurry or stress or there's nothing at stakes, right? There are no stakes and there's no time pressure, so you can just take your time, you can figure things out, you can experiment, right? So doing this even with the champs that you do know is actually good, and can be very very valuable. So once you do that, now we have to talk about mentality or mental, right? Because having a strong mental is going to be very, very important for us to actually enjoy League. Because at the premise, League is a game where if you are in the rank that you are actually like supposed to be, where you actually belong, you are going to be like 50% win rate, right? Give or take, and it's going to fluctuate, but what it means is we are supposed to lose 50% of our games. That's how it's supposed to work, and it doesn't matter which rank you are. So for example, let's say that your skill level fits to iron player or you're actually challenger. So if you're a consistent challenger and you stay at challenger all the times, it still means that your win rate is not going to be 60-70%, most likely it is going to be like somewhere around 50 anyway. It can be 51, 55, 60, whatever. Um, and let's say that we're smurfing, right? There's a player who's actually very good, pro player, whatever, and he's smurfing. And in the beginning, of course, win rate is going to be high, like 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. But eventually, when this player is in the rank where he belongs, with the players that match his skill level, win rate is going to equalize to again that 50 or around that 50, right? So, keeping having this uh, in our mind, we know that when we're starting a game, there's 50% likelihood, give or take, that we are gonna lose. So accepting this, we should stay calm whenever a game doesn't go well, and we have to remember that hey, if the game is not going well, it is normal. It is one of the expected results because it's always coin flip. It's always 50-50. It's always either good or bad. It doesn't matter. So, with this, now we have to accept that everyone makes mistakes, right? And given the fact that we are in the rank that we are in, so in our case, it's going to be low elo, right? So when we're in low elo, we have to accept that it is impossible that we're good and everyone else is bad. Because if we're this good and this better, then we are not supposed to be in this. We're just not in this rank, right? But we are. So it means that it is not someone else's fault, it is our fault, and we are also making mistakes. So it doesn't matter if someone's making a mistake, it doesn't matter if someone's playing badly, if someone's losing lane, if someone's feeding, someone's inting. It is normal and it is gonna happen in every freaking elo. I've seen so many people, high skill players in high elos, like master lobbies and grandmaster lobbies, where games devolve into like horrible, horrible crap that I see in iron and bronze, like in my games, right? So people are always going to be people. People can always have bad days. People can always fuck up, screw up. People can get distracted. It doesn't matter. And we also have to accept that not only people will make mistakes, but there's pretty much always going to be someone, at least one player out of five on your team, who's going to be feeding and losing. Like, there's going to be one inter regardless of that. And we have to treat this with an amount of acceptance because at times we are that one feeding player, right? So it's just a nature of the game. There's always going to be someone who's feeding. Of course, there are rare games which are just insane stomps, where just someone just everyone just stomping the other team, right? And sometimes you're on a winning team of a stomp, sometimes you're on a losing team of that stomp, and either way, it doesn't feel particularly good. It is unfortunate, but even these things happen. But most of the time, there's always going to be a feeding player or two, or even three. It is normal, and these things are gonna happen. Always, they will happen. So the sooner we accept this as a well, um, natural state of the game, the sooner we are gonna have actual fun with it. So, and on the topic of that, one really important uh, lesson or like rule that we need to follow is some people may disagree with me here, but and like regardless of elo, it's just a matter of opinion. I think about comms, right? About chat. So I think disabling chat is very important for two reasons. First of all, League is notorious for people tilting, right? People tilt, people lose their minds, and they start typing different shit. So when this happens, we're gonna get distracted, right? And we should not get distracted. So turning chat off and keeping it off always is a good idea. Plus, second reason for keeping it off, not just because we get distracted by someone flaming us or somebody tilting and it just takes our time and we get distracted, whatever. and it affects our performance because we're now also are a bit negative. If you want to type something, then you're losing valuable time, right? With typing shit. So we have no time for typing. We have to play the game. We have to win the game. So no typing, just just gameplay, right? We need to focus up. And with this, we have to learn to communicate through pings. And with this, pings are going to be our most important channel of communication. And when pings are very important for us like this, sometimes we have to mute players manually who spam, right? Who express who are overly negative and they just keep spamming pings on everyone. And when it comes to this, just we need to mute those people, but it also means that we must not spam ourselves. Like never spam, never tilt, because remember, pings are for us not a tool for expressing negative opinion. It is a tool of communication because chat is off. And we need to be able to warn our teammates if, for example, enemy is missing or enemies coming, flanking, danger pings, or assist pings, all that stuff, vision pings. These are going to be very important. So if we are spamming, then nobody is going to listen to us, and some like basic level of communication is important. So no spamming. We just have to remember we must not spam. Now, once all of these beginning or prerequisites, right, of league enjoyment are established. By the way, one of the gamers, one of the players is disconnected for a while now, and our bot is just destroyed. Top. So Fiddlestick unfortunately had a disconnect going on. So yeah. Regardless of that, these things are gonna happen. So here I wanted to FF immediately when I realized that he's out, because our chances of winning are really low. So team decided not to, and well, we're playing the game, right? We're going with it. If your team decides not to give up, unless you're 35 kills down before 20 minutes, which did happen to me, um, then just play the game. If the game is really lost, and by lost I mean like enemy team has 35 kills on us before 20 minutes and every lane is crap, nobody can really play the game, then yeah, it's a bit doomed, and yeah. But these are not common occurrences because, as we've mentioned, stomps are not something that is normal. So we just gotta play the game. If our team wants to play the game, if they want to continue, we have to continue, right? It's especially if it's ranked. So now, once we are in the game, there are again several rules that I use that did help me quite a lot. So, rule number one, no forcing. Like, we should never force anything unless we are absolutely sure that if we do not force, we're gonna lose the game. But if we are not 100% sure, and by the way, we should never be 100% sure about something because, hey, we can always be wrong, right? And we're wrong more often than we think. So we must not force anything, especially in lower elos. I think not forcing a play or not forcing certain strategy or certain play is actually very good and beneficial. It allows you to, first of all, stay safe, stay alive. It allows you to play the game. Because if you force too much, you're taking too many unnecessary risks, and it means that you're going to be dead at a certain point. And if you're dead, well, you can't play the game, and the game is being actively lost because you're forcing too much. So I'm really not sure whether this is a good enough of an explanation why I think not forcing is this important. I'm not sure if I'm able to articulate this properly. Hopefully, I did. But really, another, I guess, reason for not forcing a certain play or just not forcing plays in general is because, well, let the enemy team make mistakes. Let them come to you. So, meaning, don't overchase, don't push something, don't be greedy, never greed, because essentially every single time we go greedy, we're making mistakes. We're making a mistake and everyone knows it. We realize that we're making a mistake. We realize that we're being too greedy, right? That we, for example, should recall and go back and play safe, get our items and all that shit. Um, so, with this, never forcing is a very, very valid strategy that we should always follow. Now, second thing is whenever we're playing a game, we should realize that we have a resource in League of Legends. Like in life in general, but especially in League, we have a resource. The game is going to last like 30, 40, 20 minutes, somewhere there. So, meaning we're constantly on the clock. And our most important resource here is time. So what it means is we use time to get actual in-game resources like for example gold or buffs or this kind of thing, right? Vision. So we need to always evaluate what is going to be the best possible strategy in this possible situation. And our measurement for evaluating that good strategy is going to be return on investment. We invest our time to get something back, right? To get resources, to get vision, money, vision, gold, or maybe an objective, buff, objective, Drake, whatever. And these things are going to be very vital. The better you are at finding resources in the game or using your time, right? The better your win rate essentially, or your game quality, your gameplay quality is gonna be. So, for example, let's say that there are enemies barreling down mid lane, and for example, some other lane, let's say top, is also pushed in. If there are three enemies here and this tower is pretty much dead at this point, or it has, even if it has full health, and there are three enemies, we're losing the game. There are three enemies. This tower is it's gone now. So what is going to be better instead of coming here and staring at the enemy? Instead, go top and kill the wave, right? You get gold, your lane is in a slightly better condition, and you're not essentially dying. At least, I mean, people may disagree. People may think that's a bad thing to do, right? And sometimes, yeah, sure, you should go and defend your tower that is about to fall. But again, like as a general rule of thumb, if you go under that turret trying to defend it, you're one of two things is gonna happen. Either you're gonna be dead, or you're just gonna stare at the enemy and not being able to do anything, and you're losing essential resources. Of course, it doesn't mean that when enemies pushing your mid lane, your inhibs and all that, you shouldn't run away into enemies tier 2 tower, right? Of course, that's nonsensical. But we need to use our time wisely, basically, what I'm trying to say. So, afterwards, next thing is awareness. Staying aware of your surroundings is incredibly important. It is very overpowered. Just keep looking at the map. Just keep glancing at it. Have this habit of glancing at the map, looking at what is happening, uh, putting vision where you think vision is going to be important, and also stay aware of enemy death timers. Because this is something that I see a lot in low elo where people overstay. They are pushing a lane and they're very far, very close to enemy base, and of course enemies are gonna recall, gonna either recall or if they're respawn, they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna like chase you, right? So at this point, you have to stay aware of what is actually happening in the game, because otherwise you just keep dying for no reason, keep giving away not only your valuable resource, which is time, which you would be able to exchange for something else like gold or advantage, but also you're giving enemy team an advantage, because not only they took your time, but also they took gold right from you and XP. So staying aware also means that, for example, if somebody is pushing a lane, it might be worth to push another lane as well. Because let's say that one of your teammates is pushing this, and most of enemy champions are clamping on this one guy. So it means that he's soaking that pressure. All the pressure is on him, and while enemy is distracted, we could get something else out of it, right? So that being said, one thing that I think is going to be the deciding factor is our understanding of pressure point. Pressure point, I call it pressure point. Maybe there is a better win condition, right? But win condition is a bit of a loaded term, and sometimes it's very easy to get confused what it actually means. So, I'm gonna go ahead and keep saying pressure point. Pressure point for me, and I mostly play support and jungle. Sometimes I play bot. Uh, very rarely I play mid. Maybe sometimes I get top, right? But that being said, regardless of who you are, of what position you're in, what kind of role you have in the game, you have to remember that you must not tilt. And sometimes, if your teammate is feeding, it can be very easy to lose your cool, to lose your mental, and start, well, losing the game, right? But there is always going to be a pressure point. There will always be one teammate who can carry you. Maybe this teammate is not yet carrying, but once he gets an item or two, there is going to be one or two people who are capable of carrying. So it means that pressure point is always going to be there. Win condition, meaning a carry player, is always going to be there. Sometimes it's even you. So what it means is that you have to be carryable, right? You have to stay calm. You must stay safe, play safe, and if, for example, someone is winning the lane, or you think someone's champion has a capability of winning the lane, what you have to do is allow that person a chance to accelerate and actually win us the game. So it means don't feed, don't force plays, don't tilt, don't spam ping, don't do all of that shit. Stay calm and all that stuff. So I'm a bit running out of time here. Um, there are a few more things that I wanted to mention, but I guess we'll have to postpone that for maybe a future vid, if there will be a future vid. So basically, one last thing that I really want to say is having fun. We have to remember that League is a game. It's not a full-time job. It's not a work. We there is no um, there is no obligation for us to climb. Like, it is essentially our ego, like climbing to a higher rank. It's just ego talking, right? You must not focus on climbing the ranks. What you must focus on is just playing the game and having fun and potentially getting better. Because trust me, once you allow yourself freedom, and once you go, hey, maybe I'll lose this game, maybe I win this game, right? Because half of the games are lost. And let's just try to have fun. Let's just try to enjoy ourselves. Once you go that route, everything is gonna be more pleasant, more enjoyable. Everything is gonna be better. So remember, League is a game. Try different things, have fun, and basically, yeah. remember those fundamentals, and I think everyone is going to be having a blast. So thank you. See you soon.